Hello and welcome. I'm Shraddha, and this video will cover the demonstration of QuintType's headless CMS Bold. Before we dive into the demo, I'd like to give you a quick background. QuintType builds products that are cut across the digital publishing suite, creating better content experiences for readers. A lot of our work over the last few years has been revolving around driving digital transformation for legacy and enterprise publishers across the globe, supporting more than 150 languages and powering over 1 billion page views month on month through our platform. Now let's look into the whole bunch of solutions we provide that will fit into the ecosystem, essentially taking your digital journey end to end. Starting with how you create your content, which will be managed by our signature flagship product Bold, which with an API architecture will allow you to render your content on any front-end app, including a distribution mechanism to make sure that your content is available everywhere. Now within Bold, we also have an AI integration through which we are able to do translations, paraphrasing content, and many more that will showcase during the demo. Then your audience can interact or engage with that content via comments, reactions, or user-generated content that will happen through MeType, our engagement module. And then for content monetization, well, there are several ways to go about it. Either you'll go down the path of ad monetization, or we do support business models that could be subscription groups, recurring donation campaigns, metered paywalls, fundraising campaigns. All of that is managed by a paywall management module, Access Type. In addition to these core offerings, we offer out-of-the-box solutions to streamline your work and accelerate your time to market. One of the major challenges we've heard from publishers is that the time and effort involved in designing, developing, integrating, testing, and go live, even for small microsites or content sites with low traffic. But with Page Builder, QuintType's team ensures website launches within a matter of few days or weeks for small and large sites, while we take care of website maintenance so that you can focus on creating great content. We also develop mobile apps for both Play Store and App Store. Furthermore, we have single sign-on functionality, enabling users to sign in seamlessly across all digital properties. And lastly, our homegrown migrator app comes with a dedicated team to assist you in transitioning from your existing setup to QuintType without any loss of data or impact on SEO. Now let's talk about Bold. Publishers love Bold because it focuses on great storytelling formats, distribution mechanisms, image optimization, content analytics, ease of content creation, content curation, speed of publishing, and it can manage high content volumes and heavy traffic websites, scaling up to hundreds of millions of monthly views. With that said, let's dive into the live demo of Bold. Since Bold is a headless CMS, all you require is a stable internet connection on your smart device to access Bold URL using your form logins, or you could also use our auth service to enable single sign-ons and social media logins. I also want to highlight that Bold is amongst the leading and very few CMSs that is completely responsive to a mobile screen. We have heard about challenges faced by journalists who are on the move, often need to swiftly share breaking news, cover live events, post live blogs, review or approve content, or even order the content of the website. Using mobile devices to access the CMS proves to be a very convenient and efficient option. The stages or swim lanes on the screen is a customizable editorial workflow. We have the capability to incorporate additional swim lanes according to specific requirements of your newsroom. And you're able to determine the access rights and visibility for all the users who are accessing the platform. For example, admin will have full-blown access to the CMS, whereas the guest contributor will only have limited access, such as creating or submitting the content, but not approving or publishing the stories. This is a classic example where you have freelance writers or external contributors contributing stories to your newsroom. You also have the ability to create your own roles. We will now move into the story creation process where you could start off creating stories using this add new button on the top left corner. In the interest of this demonstration, I'm going to pick one of the stories that's already in the open stage. Even before we begin to write a story, you have the ability to choose a template for your story. We have included predefined story templates in the system for different story formats, whether it's a live blog that needs to go with a timestamp, or your interview story, which would have question and answer kind of a format, or even your visual stories for that matter. I'll just quickly show one example of visual story that I've created. This template typically includes visually rich slides presented in full screen immersive format. It usually consists of a combination of text and images, making the content more appealing and shareable. The best part is that you can also incorporate ad slots between these pictures or even feature sponsored content at the end to ensure you're providing the right value to your advertisers. How we visualize stories in QuintType is essentially a stack of cards being put together, broken down into what we call it as elements of a story. Now, these elements could be your text, summary, title, attachments, call to action buttons, image gallery, slideshows, or even your Twitter posts or video embeds. I also want to highlight you could simply search the videos right from the CMS and insert them into your article instead of copy pasting the URL from somewhere else. Now, there's multiple reasons of using a card and element based approach for your content. From technical perspective, there is an API available for each and every element onto the CMS. So if you would like to represent your content in pink italic font, or if you want your headline to come out in bold red font, this is something programmable using APIs in the front end you desire. So your content is extremely structured, following regular guidelines, making sure that indexing on the search engines is accurate and effective. I also want to highlight in terms of discoverability, we are already a step ahead of others thanks to our integration with Google Indexing API, ensuring that each and every story published is indexed immediately. From a business perspective, there are additional benefits. For example, you could essentially have a read more or load more button after first couple of cards to ensure users don't have to read through an entire long form content or scroll through multiple pages before going to the next story while they are viewing through their mobile screens. You have advantages to place programmatic ads between two cards so that the user experience is not hampered and there's natural breaks for the ads between the content. And last but not the least, you can even have registration or login wall, or for paid content, you have the ability to place a paywall between the cards to make sure there's some content revealed and some content behind the paywall. Now, from editorial perspective, there are multiple other benefits. For example, you have the ability to reorder the cards anywhere within the CMS. And many times journalists are writing follow-up stories for the previously written content. So you could easily search for cards and insert them into your current story. Here you go. During the presentation, we spoke about a couple of AI features that I'm about to demonstrate. First one is auto-generation of alternative headlines. All you have to do is click on this AI button or magic wand, as we call it here in QuintType. It'll suggest you an alternative headline. Same goes with the subtitle as well. I'll click on this AI button and here I have a subtitle. So if you don't like it, you always have the ability to generate it again and again. Next comes paraphrasing of content. In a lot of cases, there's a requirement to rephrase or rewrite a piece of content. All you have to do is simply select the text and click on auto-generate. And Sage AI will convert simple statements into quality content while keeping the essence of the message. Sage AI understands your tone and is very helpful in making sure that there's consistency with your content. Now let's move on to inbuilt photo editor. We heard about challenges where journalists often need to go through a process of sending their images to a creative or design team or third party editor to do something like frames, cropping images, or creating text or graphic annotations. All of this is inbuilt into the system. Now, journalists don't really have to wait for someone else to perform these tasks. Instead, they can write the story, upload the images, make edits, and publish stories to a point where you could also use our inbuilt image processor to make sure that images are rendering on every screen size. And for this demonstration, I'm going to pick up one of the sample images, which is wider. If you could see, there's a live preview option. This live preview will allow you to review your stories even before publishing them on the front end. So while your image size is to be wider, which makes it hard for a cropped image to appear on small screen sizes, there are abilities to set focus point with a cross share that you might see moving across the screen to make sure that the essence of your image stays intact. The three dots on the top right-hand corner will give you the timeline on the versioning of the stories, who has been working on the stories, and you also have the ability to restore the previous versions. Or even look at the SEO scores to make sure you're checking all the boxes in terms of your green, amber, and red areas that need improvement. We also have embargo feature, which will typically lock your story till a certain set date and time for the content to be made public. This is particularly useful for planning and managing content releases, ensuring that the new articles, blog posts, journals, or updates are being published at most appropriate times. And not to forget, this is a permission-based access, so not everybody will be able to manage the embargo option. Once the story is prepared, we will now go about organizing that story within the website. So once we click on the Manage button, you could decide which sections of the website story must appear into. I'll quickly choose Business as the section. You could even add multiple authors to your story. And we have a lot of advanced options like coming up with AI-generated tags, defining custom slugs, canonical URLs for non-English vernacular languages, or even identifying a story as a sponsored story, or enabling claim review for your fact-check stories. At each and every story level, we have the ability to set access levels, whether the story is publicly accessible for the readers, or put behind the login wall, or behind a hard subscription paywall. Now let's move on to one of the most important factors in any newsroom, SEO optimization. Commonly asked questions from publishers is, does Quintai provide any assistance with regards to SEO? Well, the answer is yes. We follow the best practices in terms of search engine optimization. After speaking with numerous publishers, we've also understood that tasks such as adding fields like SEO meta titles, descriptions can be mundane and time consuming. Then why not just AI handle it? For example, if you have metadata, meta description fields in your newsroom, some individuals may write it, while others may choose to skip, and everything in between may exist. This creates a lot of inconsistency in terms of search perspective. However, with us and AI, all you have to do is click this magic wand and these fields will be automatically filled for you. Once the story is organized within the website, we'll now go about publishing that story everywhere, so you'd be able to send out your push notifications and determine whether you want to push it across multiple channels or either the web or mobile channels. You have the ability to give a social description and add social cards. or different message that needs to go on different social media channels. If I'd like my tweet to have a different message and schedule it to a future date and time, when compared to my Facebook post, I could go ahead, program it right within the CMS. So once it's programmed within the CMS, your distribution would happen automatically as soon as you hit on the submit button on the story. Also, if you're observing, we have AI integration available for social share messages, descriptions, push notification title and messages as well. We also have the ability to add alternatives within the story. So if you have a different image and headline that needs to go on homepage versus article page versus different headline and images that needs to go on social media, these alternatives can be uploaded along with your story content, so the dissemination of content is seamless as soon as your story is completed. So you could see, once I click on the submit button, it turns into approved because I have the editorial access. Now you can either publish the story immediately or publish it to a later time. For this demonstration, I'll publish this story immediately. We can now see that the story appears under the published state. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the front end to see how the story is appearing. So that concludes the journey of crafting a story from beginning to end as a creator, writer, or author. This is where Quintype truly excels in helping you showcase your work. However, the discussion doesn't end here. While this video specifically addressed writers, if you're interested in exploring how Quintype can assist from an editorial perspective, I've covered a plethora of topics in another video. In that video, we'll have a little refresher and it'll technically be a continuation of this one. You can find more details in the link provided in the bio. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video informative. Please feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in discussing further or learning more about our solutions.